A synagogue shooting. The suspect in the worst attack on the Jewish community in American history answers to charges.
What police are saying after a boy tests positive for meth after his parents say he went trick-or-treating.
And we'll ask Mike Davis if it will be a dark and stormy night for Halloween.
From Central Ohio's news leader, this is 10 TV News at 5.
Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty against this man. Robert Bowers is accused of killing 11 congregants in a hate-filled attack on a Pittsburgh synagogue.
Police say he opened fire at the Tree of Life congregation in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood. Many consider it the Jewish hub of Pittsburgh. CNN's Camilla Bernal is there. Camilla?
Even though the suspect appeared in court today, the focus here at the Tree of Life Synagogue is on the victims, those 11 people that were killed. They were people who were at their services bright and early, the ones who raised their hands to volunteer to help. And you can tell that they were a key part of this community just from the amount of people that are coming to pay their respects, to pray together, to sing together, to remember the lives lost, and to show that this community is united despite the tragedy.
My office charged Robert Bowers with federal murder and assault charges relative to the horrific acts of violence he committed at the Tree of Life Synagogue.
Handcuffed and in a wheelchair, the man accused of gunning down members of the synagogue made his first court appearance in Pittsburgh Monday. The alleged gunman, Robert Bowers, was injured in a firefight with police at the Tree of Life Synagogue Saturday and was released from the hospital shortly before appearing in court. The suspect faces 29 federal charges in the shooting death of 11 people. He was initially represented by public defenders.
We will have the opportunity to present evidence demonstrating that Robert Bowers murdered 11 people who were exercising their religious beliefs and that he shot or injured 6 others, including 4 of whom were police officers responding to the shooting.
One of the rabbis leading his congregation at the synagogue Saturday morning told CNN about the moment he realized he heard gunfire and how he tried to save as many of his members as he could.
Quickly tried to usher them up to the front, out some doors in the front, towards exits or towards a closet, someplace that they could hide, someplace safe.
Despite the hateful act, he insists the synagogue will reopen stronger than before.
Tree of Life has been in Pittsburgh for 154 years. We're not going anywhere. I will not let hate close down my building.
And the U.S. attorney also announcing that Bowers will be held without bond. He said he has a team of prosecutors diligently working to ensure that justice is done. Reporting live in Pittsburgh, I'm Camila Bernal. Now back to you.
Camila, thank you. Now, Bowers was treated by Jewish staff at the hospital. Friends and family described the 11 people killed in the shooting as loving, caring, and pillars of the community. The youngest was 54, the oldest 97. They include a married couple, 2 brothers, and a doctor, all beloved by their synagogue and neighborhood.
And many houses of worship are now developing safety teams and putting members through crisis training. And the statistics show why. 10 TV's Shelby Croft visited a Central Ohio church that is taking action.
It just tears me up.
Joel Reed is shaken, thinking about the rabbi who knew his worshipers were targets as he tried his best to help them. Joel leads the congregation of Fairfield Christian Church.
There's so much that rides on the safety of this whole entire building in regards to my family, so that's really important.
Joel grew up in the church. He and his wife both work here now, and their daughters attend the K-12 school. 2 years ago, church leaders started looking seriously at safety. The Parkland, Florida tragedy took it further.
It's called us to step up whatever we're doing.
We have a daycare, we have a school, we have a church. We've got people in and out of here all the time, and we feel it's our duty to protect them the best that we can.
We have a safety team.
That team of volunteers is trained for crisis situations. They're placed at church entrances and around the building.
We're constantly looking out for people, like I said, anomalies, people who are out of place, things that are out of place.
Church entrances aren't open all the time. During the week, this is the only way in and out through the school, and it's highly monitored.
We have a lot of cameras.
Dozens throughout the church and school. But Joel and the team know it's all a balancing act.
We don't want anyone to feel like this isn't a place where they can come if they have any type of need. It's difficult to maintain that, both keeping everything safe, but then also making sure that it's a welcoming place.
The church has had trainings through Strategos, which specializes in attack preparedness. The company says in 2004 there were just 4 church attacks. Last year there were 261. They do numerous trainings weekly all over the nation.
Having the right mindset is the most important thing.
In Lancaster, Shelby Croft, 10 TV News.
We wanted to know how often Ohioans report hate crimes. The answer might surprise you. An FBI report on hate crimes puts the Buckeye State as number 3 in the country for the highest number of reported hate crime incidents, behind California and New York. Lawmakers say keep in mind 5 states, including Indiana, have failed to pass hate crime legislation. 10 TV has reported on several hate crime investigations this year. Columbus City prosecutor Zach Klein says the city ordinance is even stronger than state law. It includes sexual orientation, military status, and disability, to name a few.
We actually have a broader group of folks that we want to protect under the ethnic intimidation law because of just how intolerable it is for our community and how seriously we take these crimes.
We dug deeper into the FBI's report to reveal Columbus police investigate more reports of hate crime incidents than Cleveland and Cincinnati combined. Prosecutors explain why ahead at 6.
Also new tonight, police say a child tested positive for methamphetamine. This child here after his parents say he went trick-or-treating. The father says the little boy started having some sort of seizure. 10 TV's Brian Somerville is following this story in Mount Gilead. Brian?
Good evening. Well, I'm in Mount Gilead because I just talked with the boy's mother, Julia Pence, who says this is sad. The fact that she says this is what Halloween and trick-or-treating has come to. Now, Pence says this happened yesterday. They were trick-or-treating in Galion, about 20 minutes away, when after they got home, he started to have what they thought was a seizure. The boy, 5-year-old Braylon, taken to the hospital where Pence says after a series of tests, including a CAT scan and a urine analysis, Braylon tested positive for methamphetamine. This photo showing him in the hospital bed. He stayed there for 6-7 hours yesterday. I also had the chance to talk with Braylon. He and Pence told me he hadn't eaten any of the candy that he collected, but what he did put in his mouth was a set of those plastic vampire teeth. He told me he did that twice, and then he went to put his socks on, and that's when he started to feel shivery. Now, law enforcement has taken the candy that was at that house in Galion. They have taken that to a testing facility. The family says they expect to hear more on the results of that coming up in the next couple of days. For now, Pence says this is very much a lesson for all parents to check, double check, and then recheck your child's goodie bag after a night of trick-or-treating before they put anything in their mouth. Now, tonight at 11, we're going to have more with Braylon and with his mother. It's an interview you do not want to miss. Live in Mount Gilead tonight, Brian Somerville, 10 TV News.
Thank you, Brian. That is a frightening story. Well, allegations on a school bus so shocking, the bus driver has reportedly asked for time to cope. A Logan County teen is accused of raping a 6-year-old girl. The incident allegedly happened last Wednesday in Bell Fountain, and the 15-year-old boy goes to Benjamin Logan High School. Tonight, parents are receiving letters about the incident from district leaders. Police took the teen into custody, and he is at the Logan County Juvenile Detention Center.
Groveport Madison High School was briefly locked down today because of this. This video shows a number of students involved in an incident early this morning. Groveport police say the number of kids actually fighting was approximately 6 to 8. The fight stemmed from some sort of Halloween party that happened over the weekend. Investigators say 2 15-year-olds will likely be charged with disorderly conduct and fighting.
Well, the Buckeyes are back on the field this Saturday after a much-needed week off.
That's right, but some are focusing attention on the team's head coach. What Urban Meyer is saying about the rumors that he is considering retirement.
And the rain moving out. You know what? We had a couple of rainy days here, so we're catching up a little bit in October. But some showers up in Richland County just south of Mansfield this evening, and also a little bit to the north and east of Coshocton. How's it moving out there tonight? It's kind of streaming down to the south and east and gradually fading. And the rainfall totals were much less today. About 500s out at the airport, 800s at Lancaster on the high end of things. Nothing reported thus far today down in Chillicothe. Right now, we got a little bit of sun, a little bit of blue, and 54 degrees. But we could do much, much better. I'll have a look at that and also your forecast for trick-or-treating all coming up.
Closed captioning on 10 TV is sponsored by Custom Air.
34 years Butch drove that truck. At times he turned down raises to give us a better retirement. Then this letter changed everything. Wall Street mismanaged our pensions, our benefits would be slashed. Butch was never the same, and a year later he was gone. Sherrod Brown knew something had to be done and led the fight so tens of thousands of Ohioans get what they're owed. Sherrod Brown fights for us, and that means everything.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
Election Day is November 6th, but you don't have to wait to cast your vote. This year you have two options to skip the lines and vote early. Registered Franklin County voters can vote in person at the Board of Elections. Location and hours are listed on our website. Or apply for an absentee ballot and vote early by mail. Fill out the absentee request form on our website or call to ask for the form. Follow the instructions on the mail-in ballot to ensure your vote is returned on time. Early voting, it's your vote at your convenience.
Corrupt Keith Faber took over 36,000 from online charter schools, then covered up the scam while we got fleeced. No one did more harm to taxpayers than Faber. Corrupt Keith Faber, too corrupt to fight for us.
In this election, Ohio is at a crossroads. We can continue down a path where corporate money rigs the system, or we can change course. As your next auditor, I won't take orders from the highest bidder. I'll answer to you.
10 TV News is sponsored by Menards.
We are back with Campaign 2018 now, and with just 8 days until the midterm elections, Democrats and Republicans are bringing a lot of star power to the Buckeye State.
Today, former Vice President Joe Biden is campaigning for gubernatorial candidate Richard Cordray. This is video of them visiting students this morning on the OSU campus. And right now, we're going to take a live look. This is a rally now underway in Youngstown, where Biden is addressing Cordray supporters. You can watch his address to voters right now on 10tv.com or on the 10TV Facebook page.
The President Trump 2020 re-election campaign is spending $6 million on broadcast and digital commercials ahead of next week's midterm election. This one-minute commercial focuses on the country's low employment rate and warns that it could go away if voters don't elect Republicans next Tuesday. The commercial flashes back to 2010 to show tougher times, but it should also be noted that the country was recovering from a financial crisis that began during the Bush administration. You can make informed decisions before Election Day with our 10 TV and Columbus Dispatch Voters Guide. Learn all about the races and the issues on the ballot at 10tv.com/voters guide. A cell phone, a snapshot, and some serious charges.
And some teenagers are learning the consequences too late.
And I just think hopefully that they will take it seriously, because there's so many things that we learned today that we had no idea about.
Coming up new at 5:30, Crime Tracker 10's Angela Ann uncovers the secret world of sextortion.
But first, after problems on and off the field this season, Urban Meyer addresses rumors about his future as Ohio State's head football coach.
If it weren't for my arrests and a tough love judge, I wouldn't be alive today. Heroin controlled my life. Then fortunately, I got arrested. Ohio's justice system gave me treatment and a support team led by a judge who guided me to recovery. But issue 1 has a loophole that will take that away and undo the very programs that saved my life and countless others. Please don't make a deadly mistake. Vote no against issue 1.
FBI scandal after scandal, the culture of corruption in Columbus, and Frank LaRose fits right in. LaRose took thousands in tainted donations and traveled on the same dime as the speaker caught in a bribery scandal. Let's make things clean with Kathleen. Kathleen Clyde. Small town values and honest bipartisanship. Clyde worked with Governor Kasich to expand Medicaid, fight opioids, and pass a sales tax holiday. Kathleen Clyde, a Secretary of State who'll work only for you.
Laura Lanise served our nation in the Ohio Air National Guard and U.S. Army Reserve. Now her service continues.
As a mom of 3, I want Central Ohio to be a place all of our children can stay to achieve their dreams. That's why we're working to provide vocational and technical training so that the next generation is career ready. And I supported billions of dollars in income tax relief, creating over 500,000 jobs.
A life of service, our independent voice. Laura Lanise for State Representative.
I'm Jim Renacci, and I approve this message.
Innocent until proven guilty, a privilege the radical left abandoned. They tried to destroy Judge Kavanaugh with unfounded claims, and Sherrod Brown was one of the loudest voices. He would know. Court records show Brown physically abused his ex-wife. Brown even violated a judge's restraining order, pushing, shoving, and threatening the woman. Washington at its worst. Sherrod Brown, dishonest, phony.
Putting an end to Ohio's prosperity. Beth Liston's plan increases government spending and leaves us to foot the bill. Liston even opposes the small business tax cut, hurting our economy and killing jobs. But Liston's not alone. Mary Lightbody is even more extreme. Lightbody is calling to raise our income taxes by over $1 billion and spend away Ohio's rainy day fund. An expensive agenda costing us. We can't afford Beth Liston or Mary Lightbody taking us backwards.
The best reviewed Chevy dealer in Central Ohio. Google us at DaveGill.com for your deal.
New tonight, the Cleveland Browns will soon be looking for a new coach. Today, the team fired Hugh Jackson. Jackson only won 3 games in his 2+ seasons. His firing came a day after the Browns lost their 25th straight road game. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams will serve as interim coach. Also tonight, OSU's head coach is talking about his future with Ohio State.
Urban Meyer spoke to news reporters today after a bye week. And Dom DeBerry joins us now. The Buckeyes need to rally after that tough loss to Purdue, don't they?
Yeah, it's circle to wagon time, and you know, November's here. That's when championships are won, but there have been rumors swirling of late concerning the future of Coach Urban Meyer. Some have gone as far to say the coach was going to retire at the end of the season. There have been reports of possible tension between coach and the athletic department, while others cited his health. Today, Coach Meyer put those rumors to rest, saying he is not stepping down at Ohio State.
I plan on coaching. You plan on coaching? Yes. Can you say for sure you'll be back next year at Ohio State? Yes.
As you can see, it was clear Coach really didn't want to get into that stuff, and it was even more clear that he's focused on just one thing, beating Nebraska on Saturday. He knows that November is upon us. November is when championships are won, and at the end of the day, you know, let me just say this about Coach Meyer. He is not a warm and fuzzy guy on that kind of stuff.
No.
He is focused on one thing, winning this game, and you know, we have seen this team respond after such situations. I mean, you know, Buckeye Nation obviously feeling bummed about the Purdue game, but this guy's won a lot of football games at Ohio State, and I don't think he's going anywhere.
And that's all they want him to do, is to win. Right. Win games.
It's like Coach Coop used to say, you're only as good as your last win.
Yeah, that's true. So
thanks a lot.
Thanks,
He's right. Mike Davis, you're only as good as your last forecast.
He knows it. And he's got a tougher job than I do by far, so a lot more criticism. But let's take a look ahead, and after you hear the Halloween forecast, yeah, you may be a little critical. Tonight, look at the low clouds just skimming the city, just kind of going right over the top of the skyscrapers downtown. So a little overcast. It'll partially clear tonight. Tonight is going to be chilly, but tomorrow, anything but. So what we're tracking right now is some clearing overnight tonight. It is going to be chilly with temperatures down in the mid to upper 30s, so some areas, again, could see some patchy frost. Tomorrow, though, pick of the week, beautiful day, temperatures in the 60s. We were talking about this last Friday night, that it really looked like some of the models were trending to much, much warmer early to middle part of the week. That is all going to come true. Unfortunately, the ghosts and the ghouls and the goblins are all going to be out on Halloween, meaning it is going to be not so nice. We kind of have the trick rather than the treat in terms of the forecast. Right now, we've got some light showers up here in Richland County. They're moving to the southeast. There's Mansfield. They're heading down. They'll graze Belleville a little bit, move to the south and east. And this stuff is going to stay well away from Coshocton. In fact, it's fading. It's going to move into Tuscarawas County and kind of dissipate as we go through the night. So again, you see these little showers moving away from us. Had some stormy weather. Reports a little small hail in the vicinity yesterday. 54 degrees out right now. That's not bad. West winds at 10. No wind chill. The humidity is about 60%. As we look at temperatures around the state, you've got mainly 50s, but a few 40s off the east. Coshocton just 49. Cambridge 48, but Caldwell rock bottom there at 47, which for this time of year is certainly below average. Looking ahead at tonight, partly cloudy, much cooler. Temperatures in the mid-30s in the morning. A south wind 5 to 10, but that's going to bring in warmer air during the day tomorrow. So you've got a big system out west. Not a lot in our part of the country, but the showers are moving off the east. A little bit of snow coming out of Canada with some cool air. But for us, nice changes heading this way, at least briefly, as high pressure builds in, dries us out to start the week. Should have a lovely day coming up tomorrow. Sunshine, nice southerly breeze. It gets a little breezier as we head toward the afternoon and evening. By late tomorrow night and going into, unfortunately, Halloween, Wednesday, you've got a cold front moving in. It'll turn kind of spooky and rainy as we go into. So is it going to be a dark and stormy Halloween? It kind of looks like it is. Showers and possibly even some heavy rain as the system moves in and then stalls over the area. So it'll affect us both Wednesday and Thursday, kind of hanging around. So we'll have some waves of pretty good rain. In fact, it's going to accumulate quite a bit as we go through the next couple of days, to the tune of maybe 1 to 3 inches in many areas. So that is a good soaking rain. We've been saying for weeks now that October has been very dry, even for the driest month of the year. It's about to make a turnaround as we get toward the last day. So as we look at our model, streaming clouds off to the north tonight, but pretty quiet. Maybe a few patchy clouds in the morning. That clears out. We get into some sunshine at noon. Clouds off to the west. Late in the day, plenty of sunshine too, with clouds off to the north. But as we head toward Wednesday, things start to cloud up and the showers move back in. So for trick or treat, rainy, breezy, and warm, 64 degrees. That's a good Halloween temperature. More of that for Wednesday and Thursday. We cool off just a little bit, about 57. Morning low pretty mild at 49. Lesser chance for showers Friday and into Saturday, about a 30% shot. Sunday looks like our next completely dry day. Monday, though, the showers come back. Doppler 10-day outlook. Low to mid-50s continue. Morning lows dropping back into the 40s throughout the course of next week. But the next couple of days, at least, very warm. Tomorrow looks like the pick of the litter, guys.
The pick of the litter. Is that what you said?
I did.
Pick of the litter? Okay, got it. All right, thanks. Some breaking news out of Washington to bring you. The Defense Department says it's sending 5,200 active duty troops to the U.S.-Mexico border as a migrant caravan makes its way through Mexico. 800 troops are already on the way. All of those troops will be there by the end of the week. The Trump administration says it will turn away any migrants trying to enter the U.S. You'll hear more from the president ahead at 5:30.
America is rallying around the people of Pittsburgh.
And tonight at 6, a local woman with strong ties to this latest tragedy.
And I thought, if only my husband had been here, please, you know, someone to just hold on to.
And she never told us that she knew.
The pain she feels, the victims of the synagogue massacre.
And next, that's not a bookmark, the hundreds of dollars discovery at a Columbus library.
Mike DeWine is on the side of the insurance industry and is not on the side of people that need health care. People like me. Mike DeWine hasn't done anything to prove that he supports people with pre-existing conditions. You can't tell me that you support pre-existing conditions when you've sued the federal government to overturn laws that support people with pre-existing conditions. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
A Stronger Ohio is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kathleen Clyde lied. A divisive and ineffective legislator, Clyde has never passed a single bill in 8 years. Not one. Clyde has stood in the way of Ohio's progress, voting against tax cuts and balanced budgets, which included coverage of pre-existing conditions. Kathleen Clyde, not working for us. A leader we can trust. Frank LaRose brings people together. Husband, father, Green Beret, LaRose has the honor and integrity to protect our rights and our votes. Frank LaRose for Secretary of State.
Jeff Weiler Ram Bighorns, only $294 a month with no money down in Canal, Winchester.
Let me get this straight. Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
Give me a break. Under Strickland and Cordray, Ohio lost 400,000 jobs.
They squandered the rainy day fund.
And Cordray hired the crook who took the biggest kickback in Ohio history.
Abuse.
Discrimination.
Right under his nose.
The untested rape kits.
Unforgivable. Now Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
What a disaster.
If I were that bad at my job, I'd be fired.
RGA Right Direction PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Trust Rob Richardson with your tax dollars? Richardson's accused of lying on a loan, hiding over $100,000, and is comfortable raising taxes. Richardson's a risk. Keep your tax dollars safe with Sprague. Robert Sprague for Treasurer.
Small town values. Keith Faber fights for us. Faber helped pass tax cuts that saved us nearly $5 billion. Keith Faber, awarded Watchdog of the Treasury 5 times. Keith Faber, protecting tax dollars and Ohio CPA endorsed. Keith Faber for Auditor.
10 TV is sponsored by Kroger.
Laura Lanise served our nation in the Ohio Air National Guard and U.S. Army Reserve. Now her service continues.
As a mom of 3, I want Central Ohio to be a place all of our children can stay to achieve their dreams. That's why we're working to provide vocational and technical training so that the next generation is career ready. And I supported billions of dollars in income tax relief, creating over 500,000 jobs.
A life of service, our independent voice. Laura Lanise for State Representative.
Beat the rush. 10 TV keeps you ahead of the traffic. Get your traffic reports on 10 TV. Sponsored by your Central Ohio Honda dealers. Weekdays on 10 TV.
New tonight, a wild discovery in a library book. Workers at the Columbus Library branch on Carl Road opened up a copy of the book, The Babysitter's Club, and found $1,000. Yeah, this picture is a reenactment of their big discovery. One of the workers got a hold of the last customer, and that person said her grandmother accidentally put the money inside the book. The cash has since been returned. So luckily they found it, not just some random person at the library, but maybe they wouldn't have returned it.
Yeah, Grandma, let's put that in the bank.
Yeah.
Safer.
Maybe she was using it for a bookmark and forgot. Who knows?
Tracy Townsend joins us now with what's new at 5:30.
Well, Jerry, coming up at 5:30, Ohio getting even more aggressive on cracking down on distracted drivers. So you could be in for a first. There was an overnight change in the law. Straight ahead, we're going to tell you about that. It could, again, get you pulled over for the first time. That's coming up. And children taking part in a dangerous trend that can quickly turn criminal.
But the law isn't going to see it as a joke.
Crime Tracker 10 shows us how sexting can lead young people down a dark path.
You want an attorney general handpicked by politicians, not elected by the people? Steve Dettelbach does. He wants politicians to appoint the attorney general. Dettelbach doesn't want blind justice. He wants partisan justice, so he can push a pro-criminal agenda, weakening penalties for violent criminals and illegal aliens, making us less safe. An appointed attorney general denies your right to vote. It's dangerous and will make Ohio less safe. Steve Dettelbach, liberal partisan, liberal record.
Small town values. Keith Faber fights for us. Faber helped pass tax cuts that saved us nearly $5 billion. Keith Faber, awarded Watchdog of the Treasury 5 times. Keith Faber, protecting tax dollars and Ohio CPA endorsed. Keith Faber for Auditor.
Trust Rob Richardson with your tax dollars? Richardson's accused of lying on a loan, hiding over $100,000, and is comfortable raising taxes. Richardson's a risk. Keep your tax dollars safe with Sprague. Robert Sprague for Treasurer.
Tina Maharoth calls her own lifestyle reckless. Bankruptcy. A hit and run that left a cyclist for dead. Guilty of selling alcohol to minors. Maharoth doesn't belong in the state senate. A better choice, Ann Gonzalez. Backed by teachers, law enforcement, business and labor leaders. Ann Gonzalez is an independent leader with results.
And like you, I'm tired of the partisan politics. I just want to get things done.
Ann Gonzalez for State Senate.
I'm Troy Balderson, and I approve this message.
Don't believe the lies. Troy Balderson supports covering pre-existing conditions and Medicare. It's O'Connor's progressive plan that'll destroy health care. If progressives and D.C. liberals get their way, socialized medicine means big government-run health care, eliminating private health plans, losing your doctor in long lines, doubles your federal taxes, and cost America trillions.
I've spent my entire adult life fighting for progressive values.
Danny O'Connor, just too liberal.
It's harvest season, and Richard Cordray is after your money. Cordray said he'll harvest additional taxes as governor, hiking your income taxes by 46%. It's no surprise. Cordray has already voted to increase your income taxes, voted to expand the sales tax, and voted to raise taxes on job creators. Altogether, Cordray's votes raise taxes more than 100 times in 2 years. Don't let Richard Cordray harvest your money and leave Ohio barren.
10 TV News is sponsored by Big Sandy Superstore. From Central Ohio's news leader, this is 10 TV News at 5:30.
Now at 5:30, sexting and your students, a crime that takes barely a second to commit. It's when kids exchange sexually explicit photos or videos over a cell phone. What teens today don't realize is that sexting can lead down a dangerous and dark path. Thank you for joining us for 10 TV News at 5:30. I'm Tracy Townsend.
And I'm Jerry Revis. The FBI says sextortion is the fastest growing crime facing kids today. Crime Tracker 10's Angela Ann explains why.
These students at Reynoldsburg Encore Academy are about to get a lesson they've never heard before, the side effects of sexting.
Now, I get a lot of questions, what is a naked picture?
Before the presentation, we sat down with a few students to see how much they knew, and they knew quite a lot. What do you guys know about sexting?
Okay, boys will just randomly hit you up and just be like, how are you tonight? Or like weird stuff, and they'll be like, let me see you, like, how are you, what are you wearing, and stuff like that.
Like, I've had like friends that like talk to me about it, and I'm like, I don't want to hear about that. That's just, you're gonna get in trouble for that. And I'll be like, if you don't delete that, I mean, I'm gonna have to say something because that's just not right.
It's kind of sad to say that it's not very taboo at our age, even from like young ages, like 7th grade, 8th grade, like way back in middle school.
Even my little sister is asking my mom, can I have an Instagram? Can I have a Twitter? Can I have a Snapchat? And like, that's like the reason we don't want to let her have one.
Because you're afraid of what she might see.
Yeah.
Sexting is so widespread today, the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office has dedicated a team to talk directly to students. In the past 4 years, 81 juveniles have been charged with a crime related to sexting in Franklin County. Some of them are as young as 11 years old.
I don't think kids, and that's because they're kids, really think of the consequences of that, and also don't look down the road that if the person that they think they love now at age 16, if they decide to break up and there's hard feelings, what could result if it was spread around to friends, relatives, and other students at the school, which unfortunately that kind of thing has happened.
Prosecutor Ron O'Brien says a bigger danger is what sexting can lead to, another crime known as sextortion, where those images can be held for blackmail to gain more sexual photos from the victim. In fact, the FBI says between July and August this year, it received an additional 13,000 complaints about sextortion scams over the previous months. It is a term these teens never heard of, but clearly witnessed.
I talked to one of the girls who got exposed, and she's like, I had sent that picture so long ago. So now I think I understand what you mean.
Prosecutor Ron O'Brien says there's also this.
We have in adults primarily seen what is generally called revenge porn, where people who have consensually created material, exchanged it, and then break up, and that is passed around to other Facebook friends or relatives, and that can be a problem as well.
Which is why prosecutors are hoping to start the education process early, even at the middle school level. They simply say, don't do it. We watched as students immediately started pulling out their cell phones and deleting photos the more they learned.
So if you have naked pictures of your boyfriend or girlfriend, every night while you're sleeping, those pictures get saved online to mom's cloud account. all right? Something that she can access, something that the people who create these cloud accounts can access.
I was astonished. There's so many things that we have no idea about. Now, hopefully, we'll be more hesitant to think 3 times, not twice, think 3 times before you send anything, or ask anything, even if it's a joke, because it's not a joke.
What's not a joke is what sexting can also lead to. Besides bullying and humiliation, look at the penalties. Being charged with a felony, jail time, or even being labeled a juvenile sex offender. The prosecutor's office takes this crime seriously. They've given this presentation upwards of 50 times during a school year. We have a link for more information under Crime Tracker 10 at 10tv.com.
Authorities say sextortion can happen quickly and quietly. Many will target victims through social media and video games like Fortnite. Other cases have shown neighbors threatening harm to someone they love if they don't receive explicit photos. If you know or you think someone in your family might need help, look for our story at 10tv.com/Crime Tracker 10.
New at 5:30, the Franklin County coroner says a gunshot wound to the chest is what killed a woman shot by a Columbus police officer during a prostitution sting. The Franklin County coroner also ruled 23-year-old Donna Castleberry's death was a homicide. Columbus police say Castleberry was shot by Officer Andrew Mitchell on August 23rd after she attacked him with a knife. The coroner's report said Castleberry was shot 3 times and had cocaine and fentanyl in her system. At the time of the shooting, Mitchell was already the focus of separate criminal investigations by his own department. Mitchell is on leave while his department and the FBI investigate. On Friday, 10 Investigates found Mitchell receives extra police protection while on leave. Also, the rental properties he owns have been linked to more than 500 criminal complaints.
About 3 dozen former students have joined a federal lawsuit against a former Ohio State University doctor. Richard Strauss allegedly abused students before taking his own life in 2005. Tonight, additional students say OSU officials knew about the abuse and did nothing to stop it. Ohio State says it's not ignoring the allegations and that the school says it's committed to finding the truth. Distracted drivers beware.
A new law is in effect tonight. The new rules of the road and the fines you could face.
And they won the World Series, but will they go all the way to the White House? Words from the manager of the Red Sox.
But first, text messages from a tragedy. A son's messages to his mother as gunfire erupts at his school.
I'm Danny O'Connor, and I approve this message.
On healthcare, Troy Balderson is dangerous. His big insurance donors want to go back to denying coverage for pre-existing conditions, so Troy got on board. They want to jack up your premiums, so Troy supports imposing an age tax on older folks. And they wanted a big tax break, even when it means deep cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Troy signed on to that one too. Troy Balderson. When he does what they say, we pay.
As a prosecutor, he failed to keep our kids safe. Now Dave Yost wants to be our attorney general. Time and again, Yost offered plea deals for child predators. A deal for a man indicted for raping a young girl, released after just 6 months. A deal for a child pornographer, released after 90 days. Now Dave Yost is running for attorney general. That's a bad deal for Ohio families. DAGA PLP is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Does your home have a crawl space? They can be filled with musty air, mold, and pests all right beneath your feet. A sealed crawl space by Ohio Basement Authority can mean energy savings and a cleaner, more comfortable home. Contact us today.
As the top federal prosecutor, Steve Dettelbach put away the bad guys.
He took on terrorists, human traffickers, and corrupt politicians from both parties.
Dettelbach had our back to protect kids.
Dettelbach has your back.
Steve Dettelbach, the prosecutor for Attorney General.
This is Angela Pace with the 10 TV Community Calendar. Celebrate the work of Star House Columbus with a fashion show and art created by the Star House youth. Log on for details.
Sponsored by the medical malpractice lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
I know Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan works hard.
I've never seen someone work harder than Jim.
Day after day.
That's just who he is.
He's one of us.
And he cares so much. He cares about families.
He remembers why we sent him there.
To stand up for us.
To keep his word.
And I know he'll keep fighting for us.
And I know he'll keep fighting for us no matter what they throw at him.
Same as he always has.
Because he's the same fighter he's always been.
because he's the same fighter he's always been.
I'm Jim Jordan, and I approve this message.
Ohio 2010. A state in shambles, without hope. That was the Strickland Cordray era. Crushing taxes, massive job losses. Now Richard Cordray is back with the same failed policies. Billions in reckless spending, raising your taxes again, threatening your job again, taking Ohio backwards. Don't let Richard Cordray do it again.
Steve Dettelbach doesn't do the work. As U.S. Attorney, gun crimes went up, but Dettelbach indicted less. Opioids flooded Ohio, but Dettelbach's drug prosecutions went down a third. And illegal immigration reached record levels, but Dettelbach immigration cases dropped by half. Do nothing Dettelbach turned his back, and he's a dangerous choice for Attorney General. Dave Yost is tough on crime and helped put corrupt politicians from both parties behind bars. Driven to protect. Dave Yost for Attorney General.
Right now, a frantic search is underway for plane crash survivors. A flight carrying nearly 200 people disappeared from radar overnight, slamming into the ocean off the coast of Indonesia. Underwater robots are searching the ocean floor tonight. The main wreckage has yet to be found, but crews have found 6 bodies. Parents rushed to pick up their kids after gunfire rang out in their hallways. One student did not survive.
One of our students who was the shooter. So first of all, our hearts go out to the larger community and to all of the young people who witnessed this tragedy.
That's the superintendent of the school district in Matthews, North Carolina, which is 12 miles from Charlotte. Investigators say the shooting stemmed from some sort of conflict. And a mother shared these text messages from her students. One message read, "We are all running for our lives." Another, "I never ran so fast."
The U.S. Department of Defense says 5,200 troops are getting ready to deploy to the border with Mexico in response to that large group of migrants traveling north. The president tweeted a warning today. It reads in part, quote, "This is an invasion of our country and our military is waiting for you." President Trump says there are, quote, "gang members and bad people in the caravan." He offered no evidence of that claim. Will the World Series winning Red Sox visit the White House? The manager says they will talk about it. White House visits have been controversial in recent years. The president called off the Eagles' Super Bowl visit when he realized a small number of players would be attending. Well, they want to rock and roll all night.
Where have we heard that before? Right. And party in Columbus, when Chris is performing in Central Ohio as part of its final tour.
Make that kiss.
Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't talk right now. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the weather outside. We've got clouds rolling on through, streaming on by, but they're going to clear out a little bit tonight, and it's going to be a nicer day tomorrow. Go up to Heath, Newark, and you know what the difference the light makes? Look at the trees, don't look like much, and then all of a sudden you get some sunshine, and you see those beautiful fall colors. Well, where does that come from? They're always in the leaves, but of course you have to stop producing the chlorophyll for the color to show through. But what you need to make a good season is plenty of rain during the growing season. Ching! Had that. You also need lots of sun and cool nights in September. It's been till October. That's why we're kind of late this year. And then this is a borderline call. Lack of strong winds and heavy rain in October, which of course knocks the leaves out of the tree. We'll go on that, although we do have some of that coming our way, and that will take a bit of a toll. So what we're tracking right now is clearing skies tonight. It's going to be chilly tonight, but tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day. Warmest day of the week. We're back in the 60s. Take a look at what Halloween looks like. All coming up.
Sound effects, Mike Davis. And next, the power to pull you over. The new law now in effect and the punishment facing distracted drivers.
What does it take to be Central Ohio's news leader? It takes protecting families from crime trends.
To go where police can't get to.
Uncovering and exposing wrongdoing.
Could cost the state millions of dollars.
And delivering breaking news when it happens.
Breaking news at the...
It takes what we do
coming at a crucial time.
Every single day.
Hello, I'm Jerry Redish.
On air, online, on the go.
Yolanda Harris here.
10 TV. Central Ohio's news leader.
Let me get this straight. Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
Give me a break. Under Strickland and Cordray, Ohio lost 400,000 jobs.
They squandered the rainy day fund.
And Cordray hired the crook who took the biggest kickback in Ohio history.
Abuse. Discrimination.
Right under his nose.
The untested rape kits.
Unforgivable.
Now Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
What a disaster.
If I were that bad at my job, I'd be fired.
RGA Right Direction PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The Washington elite, the D.C. swamp. They want higher taxes, government-run health care, and liberal Danny O'Connor. Because O'Connor opposed the tax cut plan which saves the average family of four over $2,000 per year. And O'Connor supports cutting billions from Medicare, hurting Ohio seniors who need it most. So in this election, stand up to the elite. Say no to the D.C. swamp. Vote against liberal Danny O'Connor. America First Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Looking for someone with the courage to take on the bad guys hurting Ohioans? Meet Rob Richardson. As an attorney, Rob protected retiree pensions and held predatory drug corporations accountable. And as chair of the University of Cincinnati, he helped grow their cash reserves by $300 million. Now Rob Richardson is running for treasurer to hold the bad guys accountable. He'll quit wasting tax dollars on big corporations that cut jobs and drive down wages. Instead, Rob will invest in companies that create opportunities for us.
Ohio 2010. A state in shambles, without hope. That was the Strickland Cordray era. Crushing taxes, massive job losses. Now Richard Cordray is back with the same failed policies. Billions in reckless spending. Raising your taxes again. Threatening your job again. Taking Ohio backwards. Don't let Richard Cordray do it again.
Mike DeWine is on the side of the insurance industry and is not on the side of people that need health care. People like me. Mike DeWine hasn't done anything to prove that he supports people with pre-existing conditions. You can't tell me that you support pre-existing conditions when you've sued the federal government to overturn laws that support people with pre-existing conditions. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
A Stronger Ohio is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Doppler 10 Weatherbug is sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union. A better way to bank.
10 TV's Digital Broadcast Center is sponsored by Lindsay Honda.
In campaign 2018 tonight, former Vice President Joe Biden just finished a rally in Youngstown. He's in our state to support Democrat Richard Cordray in his bid for governor. But Biden also delivered a message of unity.
Before we are Democrats or Republicans or independents, it sounds corny, but before that, we're Americans. No, I mean, for real.
You can see a full report on 10 TV News tonight at 11.
Well, it just got a lot easier for police to charge you with distracted driving. In the past, an officer had to prove a driver was texting. Well, that changes under a new state law that went into effect today. Now, law enforcement only has to prove a moving violation and that the driver was distracted at the time. There are also some higher fines, and drivers will have to take a distracted driving course as well. It's a 60-minute course through the Ohio Department of Public Safety. It reminds drivers that texting is far from the only way to drive distracted. It can also include eating or even daydreaming behind the wheel.
Last year, 10 TV's Dom Tiberi testified in support of this law. As you know, he lost his daughter Maria in a distracted driving crash. He wants to prevent that from happening to your family. And Dom is here with us now. That law is in effect on our roads. Very important to you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, none of this seems real. I mean, it's 5 years now, and it still seems like, wow, is this really happening? But, you know, I want to thank Governor John Kasich for signing the law. Thank you to State Rep Jim Hughes for writing the bill and, you know, leading the charge to make it become a law. And then all those that voted for it, the state reps and the senators, you know, it is a step in the right direction. I think we need to make Ohio hands-free, and you know that's the next step. We need to get the electronic devices out of everyone's hands, and you know they just passed a law in Georgia doing it, and unfortunately it's become an epidemic. I think we're about to see our insurance rates go up in Ohio, and I think that's going to have an effect on what happens here. But it is an epidemic. We're losing our youngest and our brightest, and it affects everyone amongst all age groups. Car crashes is a third leading killer, and you know while the statistics sometimes don't tell the whole story, the fact is many and most of the crashes we see are due to some kind of distraction. And you know, as parents, we need to take the responsibility to do a better job of educating our kids, because little eyes are in the back seat and they're watching us as we do it. And we're all guilty of it, and we're all guilty of some kind of distraction. And you're right, it could be anything from putting makeup on to combing our hair to have an electronic device. And we need to just drive the car and get from point A to point B safely, and that's all it's about. None of this is about me or, well, Maria. We can't do anything about that, but we don't want to see anyone else go through this nightmare, and it's a nightmare for my wife Terry and I. We as humans are not built to bury our children, and we just don't want to see any of you join this sick club. And for those of you that are living this nightmare with us, and I don't care how you lose your child, we're not supposed to do it, and you know what I'm talking about. You never heal from it. And we just don't want any other families to go through this.
And you're going to be speaking again on this subject tomorrow?
Yeah, the Maria school visits, we're back at it. I'm going to be at Mechanicsburg High School tomorrow, and we're going to keep going. If you're watching us now and you want me to come to your child's high school, we're happy to do it. Just have your principal contact us here at 10 TV, and we will do it. We've been to 102 high schools, over 90,000 kids, and we will continue that. But I can't stress enough to mom and dad out there, we need to set a better example for our children.
It's important message. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, well, in Health Source 10 this evening, The Ohio State University has been chosen to lead a national study on health disparities among same-sex partners. Researchers say they know their quality of health lags behind other Americans, but they don't know why. That's what Ohio State researchers will spend 5 years trying to figure out. They also say they will put an emphasis on recruiting racial and ethnic minorities in their studies. Bowling Green State University will also be helping out in that particular study. Jerry?
All right, thanks a lot. Our Skyview camera captured the sun fighting off the clouds this morning. Here's what we saw over downtown Columbus from about 8 to 11 this morning. The clouds and the sunshine seem to be fighting for attention. So, Mike Davis, who won?
Well, I think it was kind of a 50-50. I could call it a draw today. Yeah. But tomorrow, sun hands down. Oh, good. Going to win. So tomorrow we have a lovely day. And can you take a day in the 60s? Would it be all right with you?
It's good.
Okay, I figured you
it's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. He'll deal with it. Let's take a look outside. Hopefully you will be able to too. The rain has moved out for today. There were some showers well off to the east. They're all very light. They're falling apart, moving away from us. So that little bit that was up near Mansfield, there's actually one little cell north of there, but as you get down toward Loudonville, crossing over into Ashland County, just light rain, and the stuff that was by Coshocton and Newcomerstown, gone. So you see, oh, that's just actually a false echo up there in the northern part of Mansfield. We get that interference line from somebody's probably errant cell phone tower. As we look out tonight, 54 degrees, west winds at 10. You know, we have the only live radar in town, but every once in a while you pick up a live couple of days. But as the rain continues to fall in many areas, we could see as much as 1 to 3 inches of rain accumulating over the vicinity. So it looks like it's going to be kind of a soggy couple of days, not tomorrow, but beginning Wednesday and continuing into Thursday, with all this gradually tapering off as we go into Friday. So it then does quiet down. But on the other side of the coin, it cools off dramatically. 11 o'clock tonight, some scattered clouds off to the northeast. Everybody is dry. And there could be, the model throws in a few wispy clouds in the morning. If this happens, it might keep the lows a tiny little bit warmer than we're going for tonight. Finding forecasting based on the clearing overnight, or at least partial clearing, of about 37. Noon tomorrow, we still have plenty of sun, some wispy clouds off to the north. Still looking good at 5 o'clock. So a nice dry day, plenty of sunshine, but then you begin to see where that rain's going to come from. This time from the northwest, that frontal stall, and keep us soggy from Halloween on into Thursday. So I guess it's the trick rather than the treat. But on the plus side, I remember a lot of very cold Halloweens, too. So maybe take an umbrella, cover the costume. You're not going to be freezing out there with temperatures in the 60s and gradually falling. Doppler 10 7-day outlook, a couple of days in the 60s. Thursday, we're starting to cool off, but it's a very mild morning of 49, a daytime high of 57. Friday, we might get a shower in the morning with a high of 52, maybe even a stray shower for Saturday, high of 50. We bounce back. The next kind of dry day, completely dry day, looks to be Sunday. And then the Doppler 10 10-day outlook, low to mid-50s, the early to middle part of next week with morning lows in the mid to upper 40s, so either average or a little bit above average. But kind of a bummer for Halloween, but it looks great out there tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Mike. Yolanda's here now to tell us about the big stories you'll see at 6.
Well, tonight we are tackling hate and what it's really doing to our country as a whole. Now, the crimes most common in Ohio and why some areas see more hate-based violence than others. And the Jewish community stretches past Pittsburgh and brings back painful memories for people right here in Ohio.
It hit home. It hit home that it could be so close to what I had.
Coming up new at 6, the advice a Holocaust survivor has for a community struggling to understand the tragedy.
Paths have been very different. For 42 years, Mike DeWine's path's been paved with money from special interests. $2.6 million alone from the healthcare and insurance industries. Then DeWine sued to help them deny coverage for Ohioans with pre-existing conditions. Rich Cordray's path, fighting for hard-working people, battling Wall Street banks that cheated everyday Americans, recovering billions, and fighting to lower healthcare costs. Their paths could not be more different. The choice could not be more clear. Rich Cordray for governor. A Stronger Ohio is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Troy Balderson, and I approve this message.
Don't believe the lies. Troy Balderson supports covering pre-existing conditions and Medicare. It's O'Connor's progressive plan that'll destroy health care. If progressives and D.C. liberals get their way, socialized medicine means big government-run health care, eliminating private health plans, losing your doctor in long lines, doubles your federal taxes, and cost America trillions.
I've spent my entire adult life fighting for progressive values.
Danny O'Connor, just too liberal.
I'm Rick Neal, and I approve this message. I'm Rick Neal, and I approve this ad.
Daddy, why do you always say that line?
It has to do with the campaign finance law that Senator McCain wrote.
You're a campaign finance laws?
Yeah, sort of.
So that's why you don't take corporate PAC money?
No, I do that because corporations have too much power.
But the other guy, does he take the money?
Yeah, he takes millions, and then he gives corporations a big tax break.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
We all know someone affected by the drug crisis. Our loved ones need help. It's time for a new direction.
Issue 1 creates a real opportunity to truly treat addiction for the illness that it is.
A yes vote on Issue 1 gives us a healthy response to what is clearly a mess in terms of opioids.
Issue 1 breaks this cycle of crime and addiction by providing more drug treatment.
It centers help in the community where people need it.
Ohioans deserve solutions. Issue 1 for safer communities and more treatment.
Looking for someone with the courage to take on the bad guys hurting Ohioans? Meet Rob Richardson. As an attorney, Rob protected retiree pensions and held predatory drug corporations accountable. And as chair of the University of Cincinnati, he helped grow their cash reserves by $300 million. Now Rob Richardson is running for treasurer to hold the bad guys accountable. He'll quit wasting tax dollars on big corporations that cut jobs and drive down wages. Instead, Rob will invest in companies that create opportunities for us.
The Washington elite, the D.C. swamp. They want higher taxes, government-run health care, and liberal Danny O'Connor. Because O'Connor opposed the tax cut plan which saves the average family of 4 over $2,000 per year. And O'Connor supports cutting billions from Medicare, hurting Ohio seniors who need it most. So in this election, stand up to the elite. Say no to the D.C. swamp. Vote against liberal Danny O'Connor. America First Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're watching 10 TV, Central Ohio's news leader.
Kohl's has gotten the green light to open a new distribution center in Central Ohio.
It'll create about 700 full-time jobs in Licking County, specifically Edna Township, east of Columbus, as you see on this map. The state announced today it approved a tax credit for the building. No word exactly when it'll open.
Kiss is coming to Columbus for its End of the Road tour. The band says this will be the ultimate celebration for those who've seen them and a last chance for those who have not. The band will be at Nationwide Arena on March 16th. Tickets go on sale this Friday. By the way, Fleetwood Mac is at Nationwide Arena next Wednesday. Cher stops by on February 10th, and then Mumford & Sons performs on March 11th.
Can't say we don't have entertainment in Columbus.
Yeah, with some really great acts coming in.
Yeah.
Some more news straight ahead.
But we're doing things a little different ahead at 6 o'clock. As America deals with yet another hate crime, one that left 11 people dead, our thoughts are with the people of Pittsburgh tonight. And as we take time tonight to look into hate in America.
From Central Ohio's news leader, this is 10 TV News at 6.
A tragic day in America as violence hits close to home.
7 of my congregants were shot dead in my sanctuary.
11 Stars of David now stand in front of this Pittsburgh synagogue, representing people lost to an apparent act of hate.
So what do we do as Ohioans, Columbusites? What do we do as Jews? We speak up and speak out.
A shooting on sacred ground has people everywhere asking, are we ever safe?
We are a church. We don't want anyone to feel like this isn't a place where they can come if they have any type of need.
Members of the Jewish community here in Ohio are feeling the pain of the people in Pittsburgh.
I thought, if only my husband had been here, at least, you know, someone to just hold on to. Because we have the same, he feels he was born in Pittsburgh.
And now we dig into hate in America. It is another day of mourning in America after another senseless crime. Tonight, mothers and fathers are wondering how to explain this violence to their children. I'm Jerry Revish.
And I'm Yolanda Harris. We're going to do something a little different tonight, taking a moment to look at what's at the core of all of this, and that is hate.
We're putting 11 faces in front of you. These are the people that a gunman screaming anti-Semitic comments killed inside their place of worship. The last words these people heard were hate-filled and terrifying in a place that was supposed to be safe. Nicole Killian was there as the accused killer was brought into court.
Robert Bowers appeared in court, shackled and in a wheelchair, recovering from injuries he received during a gun battle with police on Saturday. The 46-year-old long-haul trucker faces 29 federal charges, including hate crimes, and prosecutors intend to pursue the death penalty.
We will have the opportunity to present evidence demonstrating that Robert Bowers murdered 11 people who were exercising their religious beliefs, and that he shot or injured 6 others, including 4 of whom were police officers responding to the shooting.
Law enforcement officials say Bowers used an AR-15 and 3 handguns, all of which he owned legally and had a license to carry. Before the shooting, on a website popular with the alt-right, Bowers posted a photo of 3 handguns he called his Glock family and wrote, "Jews are the children of Satan." He also fixated on a group called the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, or HIAS, which helps refugees from all backgrounds settle in the U.S. Rabbi Jeffrey Myers moved the congregation's Torah from the building this afternoon.
I'm not just concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, I'm concerned about the rise of hate in our country.
Here outside the synagogue, there's a Star of David memorial for each of the 11 victims. The first of the funerals starts tomorrow.
It still doesn't feel real. Like, conceptually, I heard what happened, but I can't reconcile it at all.
The victims include a doctor, brothers with special needs, and a 97-year-old woman who was often the first to walk into services. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Pittsburgh.
Bowers is being held without bond tonight. He'll be back in court for another hearing Thursday.
Well, tonight we are tackling hate, and the numbers, they don't lie. They show we are not immune to the problem here at home. Maureen Kosat shows us what hate looks like here in Ohio. Maureen?
Well, Yolanda, FBI crime statistics rank Ohio 3rd in the nation behind California and New York for the highest reported number of hate crime incidents.
Children's mural covered with racial slurs. A man facing criminal charges accused of threatening to kill people on a gay dating app. A suburban neighborhood disturbed by racially charged flyers. These stories of hate made headlines in Central Ohio this year. Columbus City Attorney Zach Klein.
No one should be intimidated based on who they are as a person, whether that's their sexual orientation, their gender, their race, their national origin. In the city of Columbus, we take that very seriously.
FBI hate crime statistics show from 2014 through 2016, Columbus reported more than double the number of incidents than Cincinnati and Cleveland combined. In 2016, Columbus Columbus reported 151 incidents compared to Cleveland, which reported only 8. Klein says the disparity is evidence. Columbus police and prosecutors have taken a zero-tolerance stand against hate. In Ohio, a hate crime is defined when the motive or reason includes race, color, religion, or national origin. The city of Columbus has taken it further to include sexual orientation, gender identity, age, disability, and military status, to name a few.
So we actually have a broader group of folks that we want to protect under the ethnic intimidation law because of just how intolerable it is for our community and how seriously we take these crimes.
Now, Zach Klein is responsible for prosecuting misdemeanor hate crimes tonight. Franklin County prosecutor Ron O'Brien tells 10TV that he is calling on Ohio lawmakers to not only create a new murder section, but to create a death penalty specification when the motive for murder can be proven as hate in court. Reporting live in downtown Columbus, Maureen Cosat, 10TV News.
Thank you, Maureen. Now, we want to try to get to the root of these kinds of crimes. So tonight we've asked Professor Ryan King from Ohio State to join us. Ryan specializes in criminal justice, and his current project focuses on the cause and effect of hate crimes. So we want to thank you for coming in today.
We do. We just saw that hate crimes are happening in Ohio. Has your research uncovered any reason why Ohio?
I don't think Ohio is special or particular in any way. I think what we're seeing in Ohio generally reflects what we see across the country. That is, in recent years, we've seen an uptick in hate crimes. That includes those reported by the FBI and by law enforcement, but also interest groups and advocacy organizations like the Anti-Defamation League show an increase as well. I think Ohio in some ways has a higher rate, I think as you reported, third in the country behind California and New York, in part because we are a large state with a large population. I think also in part local law enforcement in this state have been pretty good about actually complying with the Hate Crime Statistics Act, reporting those crimes and sending them on so they can be counted. Not all law enforcement agencies do that.
Now, I was going to ask, where do you see it the most? You mentioned New York and California, and basically that's just by the larger population? Sure.
In terms of the raw numbers, where you tend to see more people, more diversity, you tend to see more hate crimes. So that's one reason why anti-Semitic hate crimes, crimes against Jews, tend to be most prevalent in New York, for example. That changes when we look at the risk. You know, an individual member of the Jewish community may not be at higher risk in New York. But in terms of the raw numbers, yeah, population can tell us a lot.
Okay. What kind of speech or action feeds this kind of crime?
Well, we can look at that at two levels. First of all, individuals, such as the individual that appears to have perpetrated this crime on Saturday in Pittsburgh. One thing that struck me was that he had really bought into the conspiracy theories online. There's a long history of conspiracy theories involving Jews, and he certainly seemed to accept those, which seemed to feed into his rage and ultimately the homicides that followed. At a societal level, yeah, the discourse, the way we talk about other groups, from our political leaders all the way down, that sets a climate, that sets an environment for it, and the research shows that can impact the number of hate crimes.
Now, President Trump actually weighed in on the shooting last night during one of his rallies. Let's take a listen.
When you have crimes like this, whether it's this one or another one on another group, we have to bring back the death penalty.
You heard him there. He wants to bring back the death penalty. A strong approach, but do you think this is what we need?
Well, if the objective is to reduce the number of hate crimes, the death penalty is probably not going to be a very effective tool. Many hate crimes are committed out of emotion, a feeling that somebody has a grievance towards another group, that they've been wronged, and they take out that anger against that group. The death penalty may express our own retribution, our own desire for justice or vengeance in the wake of that. But in terms of bringing down the number of hate crimes, I think it's unlikely to have much of an effect.
Professor King, we appreciate you coming in tonight and helping us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Some Jewish leaders in Pittsburgh have told the president he is no longer welcome in their city. A letter sent to the White House says, in part, our Jewish community is not the only group you have targeted. You have also deliberately undermined the safety of people of color, Muslims, LGBTQ people, and people with disabilities. Yesterday's massacre is not the first act of terror you incited against a minority group in our country. President Trump plans to visit the city tomorrow. Well, right now, people have gathered in Bexley for a vigil in memory of those who died at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Sponsored in part by the Jewish Voice for Peace, a sea of candles in honor of those 11 people killed.
A company that trains church leaders on attack preparedness says violent church attacks has gone from 4 in 2004 to 261 last year alone. Now, one church they've worked with has taken the issue very seriously. Fairfield Christian Church started implementing safety measures about 2 years ago. They have a safety team trained in dealing with crisis. They have numerous cameras and locked or manned entrances. Now, with the school in their building as well, they feel they have a responsibility for safety, but they have to balance it.
It's just making sure that it's done in a way that makes people still feel welcome and in no way it hinders the friendliness of our church.
Church leaders say having the right mindset in crisis is the most important thing they've learned.
Well, the pain of this attack can be felt throughout the Jewish community through past trauma.
Every time I heard a bomb drop, I would be in the corner screaming, and my sister would hold on to me, hold on to me. You know, I was so scared.
I didn't know
The steps this Holocaust survivor says people need to take to heal.
Tonight, we are focusing on a crime that took the lives of these 11 people. We stand with Pittsburgh in this tragic time and can only hope that no other families will feel this kind of pain.
Closed captioning on 10 TV is sponsored by Custom Air.
Laura Lanise served our nation in the Ohio Air National Guard and U.S. Army Reserve. Now her service continues.
As a mom of 3, I want Central Ohio to be a place all of our children can stay to achieve their dreams. That's why we're working to provide vocational and technical training so that the next generation is career ready. And I supported billions of dollars in income tax relief, creating over 500,000 jobs.
A life of service, our independent voice. Laura Lanise for State Representative.
Lifelong resident of our community, Eric Yasinoff is a small business owner, husband, and father who cares deeply about protecting our schools. Eric Yasinoff has a record of serving our families. Eric Yasinoff, our best choice for state representative.
My daughter had been attacked and set on fire. Jim Hughes wrote House Bill 63. Judy's Hall asked. I think that's truly her legacy. Jim Hughes will make sure the scales of justice are fair and balanced.
Jim Hughes for judge.
Let me get this straight. Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
Give me a break. Under Strickland and Cordray, Ohio lost 400,000 jobs.
They squandered the rainy day fund.
And Cordray hired the crook who took the biggest kickback in Ohio history.
Abuse. Discrimination.
Right under his nose.
The untested rape kits.
Unforgivable.
Now Richard Cordray wants a promotion?
What a disaster.
If I were that bad at my job, I'd be fired.
RGA Right Direction PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Jim Renacci, and I approve this message.
Innocent until proven guilty, a privilege the radical left abandoned. They tried to destroy Judge Kavanaugh with unfounded claims, and Sherrod Brown was one of the loudest voices. He would know. Court records show Brown physically abused his ex-wife. Brown even violated a judge's restraining order, pushing, shoving, and threatening the woman. Washington at its worst. Sherrod Brown, dishonest, phony.
Corrupt Keith Faber took over $36,000 from online charter schools, then covered up the scam while we got fleeced. No one did more harm to taxpayers than Faber. Corrupt Keith Faber, too corrupt to fight for us.
In this election, Ohio is at a crossroads. We can continue down a path where corporate money rigs the system, or we can change course. As your next auditor, I won't take orders from the highest bidder. I'll answer to you.
The Washington elite, the D.C. swamp. They want higher taxes, government-run health care, and liberal Danny O'Connor. Because O'Connor opposed the tax cut plan which saved the average family of 4 over $2,000 per year. And O'Connor supports cutting billions from Medicare, hurting Ohio seniors who need it most. So in this election, stand up to the elite. Say no to the D.C. swamp. Vote against liberal Danny O'Connor. America First Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Doppler 10 WeatherBug is sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union, a better way to bank.
Tonight, we are shining a spotlight on hate in America. The shooting in Pittsburgh was the third targeted crime within 72 hours. Last week, police in Kentucky say the deadly shooting inside this Kroger store and outside of it was racially motivated. And all last week, prominent Democrats faced the threat of explosives sent to their homes and offices. Investigators say Cesar Sayak had a list of more than 100 people to target. Tonight, we hear from a Holocaust survivor on the murder of 11 Jews in Pennsylvania.
Her connection to the crime is not only faith, but location. 10 TV's Valencia Wicker has her story.
And this is where we lived at 154 Rue Oberkampf.
You remember the address. It's amazing how one photo,
probably around age 4,
can jog a memory.
In the middle of the night, there was a knock at the door, and my dad went to the door, and they said, "You have to come with us." And my mom said, "What did he do?" He says, "Nothing. We're taking him to work camp."
Memories ingrained in her very being.
I never saw him again.
During the Holocaust, some 80 years ago.
And my mother decided that she had to make a decision. Her decision was to separate us, her from us.
Frances Greenberg clung to her older sister, bouncing around to 12 different foster homes across France.
Every time I heard a bomb drop, I would be in the corner screaming, and my sister would hold on to me, hold on to me.
All the while, their mother hid in the forest before disease took her life. So 2 years later, when those resilient little orphans made their way to the U.S., life was supposed to take a turn.
When we got to the port, New York, and we saw the Statue of Liberty, everybody was singing and laughing and clapping. I thought, wow, maybe things are going to be good.
And it was. At age 16, Frances met the love of her life. Where? None other than Squirrel Hill, Pennsylvania, home to the worst attack against Jews in this country's history.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I left a terrible, 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 terrible childhood, terrible life. I came here feeling safe and feeling that it'll never, never, never happen again. And now, it's very scary.
Now, in her East Columbus home, those same pictures certainly do jog memories. But even more, they jog determination.
You have to go on. You have to let them know that you're still here and you still care and you're going to be a Jew no matter what.
Despite years, despite vicious hate crimes, her fuel for hope doesn't change.
No, no. Never.
Valencia Wicker, 10 TV News.
One of the big questions people have after attacks like this is, how do I tell my children?
One local school is turning the tragedy into a real life lesson on compassion. Students at the Columbus Jewish Day School colored cards for the children in the Pittsburgh area. The school says in writing the letters, it helps them understand what's going on around them.
Yeah, they have to have a buy-in there. They have to get understanding about it, and we have to talk to them about that, you know, and they can process things if we break it down to them.
Right. These are children just like me going through something horrific and terrible.
And a whole lot more understanding is just needed in the world on the whole. So, again, hopefully that will come to pass. Let's take a look at what's going on weather-wise. You know what? We had a kind of a pretty good day today. We had plenty of sun there as the sun's about to set from the camera at Nationwide Plaza, darting across the river there. It is going to be a quiet, clear, and a much cooler night tonight. Let's take a look up at Heath, Newark. And again, we had some pretty sun, a little bit that would light up those the trees with the leaves. But again, you know, they're kind of fading a little bit, and it all depends on the sunshine. So what we're tracking right now is some clearing tonight. Not completely clear, but a good deal of clearing. And because of that, it's going to be fairly chilly. We're going to drop into the mid to upper 30s tomorrow morning. But tomorrow, the pick of the week, it's a lovely day, a good deal of sunshine, and highs, you ready for this? Mid 60s. during the day tomorrow. We have more of that for Halloween, but unfortunately, on top of the ghosts and goblins, you can say the weather's kind of nasty as well. It's going to be a trick rather than a treat with plenty of rain coming our way for Halloween. Right now on Live Doppler 10 radar, things have quieted down. There were a few showers off to our northeast earlier, maybe a little up along the lakeshore counties here, but it's fading, it's moving out, and things are going to clear up tonight. Meanwhile, we've dropped to 52 degrees, no wind chill at the moment, northwest winds at 8. Breezes are going to kick up the next couple of days as well, so be thankful that we're up in the 60s. We've got a growing pocket of 40s off to the east. We got a 48 now at Marysville. Everybody else just into the 50s, although not by much, and it will be a nice cool night tonight. So we'll call it partly cloudy, much cooler with a morning low here of about 37. Winds are fairly light. Around the country, no severe weather at all, which is great to see. However, in the northeast, a mix of rain, sleet, and snow, which maybe is not so great to see. Looking ahead, some scattered clouds off to the northeast. We're generally clear until tomorrow morning. Now, the way this model's working out right now, and we'll have an updated version for you tonight at 11, it does bring in some wispy clouds in the morning, which may help stem the tide of the falling temperatures overnight. Then we're back to sunshine in the afternoon with some wispy clouds, mainly to the north. Overall, tomorrow is looking pretty good, but the rain looms as we go into trick-or-treat. So for Halloween, Beggar's Night, trick-or-treat, whatever you want to call it, rainy, breezy, but warm. Always look at the positive side, about 64 degrees, so at least you don't need heavy coats for that. Meanwhile, we've got rain into Thursday, real good chance there with a high of 57, morning low of 49. We're cooler with maybe a morning shower for Friday, and then Saturday some showers and 50 degrees. Sunday looks dry, Monday brings a chance for showers, and the Doppler 10-day outlook unsettled into Tuesday, high in the mid-50s there. After that, it cools us off a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday. Morning lows dropping to 40, and all of a sudden 40 is the average low for this time of year. 40.
Ugh. All right. Well, we will enjoy tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow's a lovely day.
Pick of the week day.
Yep.
All right. Dom's joining us now for a look
Summer
at
straight to
sports.
winter. That's what we get. You know, Urban Meyer was asked today if he was thinking about retiring at the end of the season. His answer was no, and that he plans on being back at Ohio State next season. Coach Meyer also made it clear that he's focused on just one thing, beating Nebraska on Saturday. Buckeyes and the Cornhuskers meet at high noon in Ohio Stadium. Coach says the grind is underway to win a championship in November.
We're in the grind, though. This is all about getting ready for Nebraska and moving forward, and as I've said, enhance your strengths and fix your weaknesses, and we got to do a better job of that.
Well, there were reports coming out of Cleveland that Browns head coach Hugh Jackson and his offensive coordinator Todd Haley were not getting along. Well, today the Browns fired both of them. This in the wake of a two-game losing streak. The Browns are 2-5-1 so far this season. Overall, under Hugh Jackson, the Browns had 3 wins, 36 losses, and 1 tie. With Jackson out, defensive coordinator Greg Williams will serve as interim head coach. Running backs coach Freddie Kitchens will serve as the offensive coordinator.
We did what we thought was best for the organization. I think that we put the organization in a better place today than it was yesterday moving forward, and we're comfortable with the decision.
Well, the Crew SC are heading back to the playoffs. Black and Gold locking up a spot in the knockout round on Sunday, yesterday, by beating Minnesota 3-2. The Crew will now travel to D.C. United this coming Thursday for a one-game playoff. The winner will move on to the next round. National holidays: National Cat Day, National Oatmeal Day, National Hermit Day, and it is International Internet Day. Cat and Internet, let's put it together. On my Twitter and Facebook, people are sending me, you know, I've got a poll going, cat, dog, both.
Oh,
so you're voting in it, yeah. And then I want to be fair to the dogs and to the cats, so, and they're sending me pictures.
Don't dogs have a day? Don't they have International Dog Day?
I'm not aware of that right now. I'm sure they do, but I'm like Urban. I got blinders on. I'm only thinking about one thing.
All right, got it.
Yeah, winning, and dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats. And hermits. You had hermits in there.
Yes.
I haven't seen a hermit in a while.
Well, you never see him.
Hermit person.
No, hermit person. He's out. You don't see him because he's away. He's off the grid. He's a hermit.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with a final check on your forecast. Stay with us.
Or she is. It's, you know.
All know someone affected by the drug crisis. Our loved ones need help. it's time for a new direction.
Issue 1 creates a real opportunity to truly treat addiction for the illness that it is.
A yes vote on Issue 1 gives us a healthy response to what is clearly a mess in terms of opioids.
Issue 1 breaks this cycle of crime and addiction by providing more drug treatment.
It centers help in the community where people need it.
Ohioans deserve solutions. Issue 1 for safer communities and more treatment.
I voted for John Kasich the last 3 times. I voted for Trump because I didn't like the way things were going in Washington. And now I'm supporting Danny O'Connor because I met Danny and I felt like he was very genuine. He's energetic, young, kind of brings a new perspective. John Kasich and Danny O'Connor both don't worry about the labels of Democrat, Republican. They're going to go get things done either way.
I'm Danny O'Connor, and I approve this message.
Mike DeWine is on the side of the insurance industry and is not on the side of people that need health care. People like me. Mike DeWine hasn't done anything to prove that he supports people with pre-existing conditions. You can't tell me that you support pre-existing conditions when you've sued the federal government to overturn laws that support people with pre-existing conditions. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
A Stronger Ohio is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you can't protect Ohio's children, you have no business being Ohio Attorney General. But as a prosecutor, Dave Yost handed out dangerous plea deals to child predators. Yost let a man who sexually abused a child go free after just 90 days. Then that criminal was arrested for rape, and Yost let him off easy again. Ohio cops trust Steve Dettelbach because Dettelbach put child predators behind bars. Steve Dettelbach for Attorney General.
I'm Sherrod Brown, and I approve this message.
Sick of waiting in airports or last-minute cancellations? Fly Air Renesi. Not only do we have private planes, but your pilot also owns strip clubs. That's right. Jim Renesi's flown more than 50 times to campaign events on the plane of a strip club owner and failed to properly report his travel. Renesi even flew with his friend to meet with religious leaders. Jim Renesi. He's always looked out for himself.
Kathleen Clyde lied. A divisive and ineffective legislator, Clyde has never passed a single bill in 8 years. Not one. Clyde has stood in the way of Ohio's progress, voting against tax cuts and balanced budgets, which included coverage of pre-existing conditions. Kathleen Clyde, not working for us. A leader we can trust. Frank LaRose brings people together. Husband, father, Green Beret, LaRose has the honor and integrity to protect our rights and our votes. Frank LaRose for Secretary of State.
Dress up your living room with scary low prices this week at Furtman Furnishings.
You're watching 10 TV, Central Ohio's news leader. 10 TV's Digital Broadcast Center is sponsored by Lindsay Honda.
As we look ahead, you know what? It's going to be a warm day tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually a very nice day. Starts off cool, ends up lovely. Wednesday, unfortunately, with all the trick-or-treaters out in the evening. On the plus side, it's going to be mild all day. 54 early, 64 in the afternoon, but rainy, particularly Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe even into Friday morning.
Rain, go away. That's one of those days when you got to cover up your Halloween costume. That's not going to be fun.
I know, but you don't have to bundle up, so there's one plus at least. Mom can carry an Dad can carry an umbrella. So.
There you go. Unless your dad is Dom, he won't carry
no umbrella.
CBS News is next. We'll see you at 11.
It's Decision 2018, and 10 TV is the place to be election night. From the earliest returns in announcements